to be remembered as an innovator. I think it was General MacArthur said, "You're remembered for the rules you break." And I've broken some rules to make this. I think I've broken them with logic and good engineering behind me. The carbon fiber and titanium, there's a rule you don't do that. Well, I did. It's picking the rules that you break that are the ones that will add value to others and add value to society.
The more and more I hear from this Stockton Rush dude, the more and more I start to feel like he is a complete madman. I am not even joking right now. In all seriousness, this dude is giving me like supervillain, mad scientist type vibes. You know the type. The type that is not necessarily evil. They're just obsessed with their inventions and experiments, so much so that they are willing to risk anything and anyone to see their vision come to light. That's the type of guy Stockton Rush is, if you ask me. Look, I have been trying to be as tasteful as possible while covering this story, but I have been looking in to Stockton Rush, and I have been looking into OceanGate, and I can tell you right now, it's not looking good. I'm talking about several different lawsuits, warning after warning after warning, total disregard on Stockton Rush's behalf about safety. I mean, he knew what he was getting himself into, but to take it one step further, he knew what he was getting other people into. He was cutting corners. He was throwing warnings out the window, ignoring safety regulations. He fired anyone who would step up and say, "Hey, we can't do this. We need to do further tests." He would get rid of them on the spot. There's already a lawsuit out here about it, and it's not just one lawsuit. I can tell you right now that I've been looking into this guy for the last day or so, and the amount of negative information I gathered, it is starting to pile up to the point that it is becoming overwhelming, and I just got to go ahead and start digging into some of this stuff. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start digging. But first, make sure you hit that like button and drop a comment down below, because this right here, when I keep saying that they had no business going down in that sub, I don't mean that like that's not a emotional statement. I'm saying that because it's backed with facts that literally everyone who ever took a glance at this sub was warning him, "Hey, you don't want to go down there. Something bad is going to happen. You need to follow these regulations," and what have you. Let's go ahead and dive in because it's just a lot. OceanGate CEO Stockton Rush was warned about the potentially catastrophic outcome of ignoring safety concerns years before his Titan submersible was reported lost during a dive to visit the wreckage of the Titanic. Rush and 4 other occupants of the 22-foot vessel were reported missing on Monday, hours after losing contact with a surface ship during a North Atlantic dive to the final resting place of the Titanic. David Lockridge, former OceanGate employee and submersible pilot, filed a lawsuit against the company in 2018, alleging that passengers were being subjected to potential extreme danger in an experimental submersible due to OceanGate's refusal to conduct critical, non-destructive testing of the experimental design of the hull. Worrying details about potential safety issues regarding the submersible have been emerging ever since the news of the ship going missing broke, including dire warnings from experts that were apparently dismissed by Stockton Rush. During the same year as this lawsuit from a former OceanGate employee, the Manned Underwater Vehicles Committee of the Marine Technology Society sent a letter to Rush, warning the CEO that his refusal to allow an outside entity to test the safety of his vessel was ignoring a critical component in the safeguards that protect all submersible occupants. The letter, which was reportedly signed by more than 36 experts in the field, alleged that Rush was misleading his potential customers over the safety of the experimental sub and breaching an industry-wide professional code of conduct by refusing tests to meet the safety standards of marine classification societies like DNV or ABS. I want to read you all this letter because it's insane. Dear Stockton, this letter is sent on behalf of our industry members who have collectively expressed unanimous concern regarding the development of Titan and the planned Titanic expedition. Our apprehension is that the current experimental approach adopted by OceanGate could result in negative outcomes from minor to catastrophic that would have serious consequences for everyone in the industry. The MUV industry has earned itself an invaluable safety track record over the past 40 years. This is partly due to the diligent engineering discipline and professional approach exercised by members of the industry, but also due to the collective observation of and adherence to a variety of safety standards. This reputation is solid because it was hard won over many years of diligence, application, and has resulted in a safe and successful record of operation. Our members are all aware of how important and precious this standing is and deeply concerned that a single negative event could undo this. Your marketing material advertises that the Titan design will meet or exceed the DNVGL safety standards. Yet it does not appear that OceanGate has the intention of following the DNVGL class rules. Your representation is at minimum misleading to the public and breaches an industry-wide professional code of conduct we all endeavor to uphold. We do all agree that a performance-based testing program for design verification is a recognized and valid approach to new technologies. However, we recommend that at a minimum you institute a prototype testing program that is reviewed and witnessed by DNVGL or ABS. While this may demand additional time and expense, it is our unanimous views that this validation process by a third party is a critical component in the safeguards that protect all submersible occupants. Together, we are all beneficiaries of the excellent safety record of MUV operations over the years, but each one of us is also a steward with a responsibility to sustain this achievement. We would be grateful if you would confirm that OceanGate can see the future benefit of its investment in adhering to our industry-accepted safety guidelines and protocols for ultimate success, and that of the MUV community. Sincerely, yours. Rush reportedly called the chairman of the committee after reading and rejecting the letter, explaining that he was ignoring the recommendations of the experts in favor of the company's own safety standards because industry regulations were stifling innovation. A 2019 blog post from OceanGate made a similar argument, asserting that bringing an outside entity up to speed on every innovation before it is put into real-world testing is not helpful to rapid innovation, while touting the vessel's real-time hull health monitoring system for being able to determine if the hull is compromised well before situations become life-threatening. Rush also touted the benefits of breaking the rules while arguing that there was a limit to the safety during a podcast interview with CBS News. You know, at some point, safety is just a pure waste, said Rush. I mean, if you just want to be safe, don't get out of bed. Don't get in your car. Don't do anything. At some point, you're going to have to take some risk. And it is a risk-reward question. I think I can do this just as safely by breaking the rules. The lawsuit from Lockridge alleges that the Titan's viewport, the sole window on the submersible, had only been certified to withstand pressure of 1,300 meters of depth. The Titanic wreckage is around 3,800 meters under the ocean's surface. So there you have it, folks. And you know, I don't think that it's necessarily appropriate to start pointing fingers right now. But when the time comes, I'll just say, I know who I am pointing my finger at. I know who is to blame for what happened to all of these people. I'm hoping that they're still rescued. I see that online, a lot of people are like cheering for their downfall. That's not me at all. But at the same time, I'm not going to ignore what this Stockton Rush guy was doing, because apparently he thought that he was smarter than everyone else. Industry experts, tons and tons of experts with more work in this field than him, they were warning him time and time again. Ladies and gentlemen, what I just read to you all was the very tip of the iceberg. There's still other lawsuits that we got to get to. There's still other warnings. There's still other people who backed out of these trips. I'm telling you right now, it's piling up. The amount of negative information that I have found on this guy and on OceanGate. It's all piling up. But right there at the end, you heard that the one window, the one viewport in this sub, the glass on this viewport, it was tested and was supposedly able to be able to go to a depth of 1,300 meters. Okay? The one window in this sub, it was approved for dives of up to 1,300 meters. The only problem is, this sub is at the very least, if they're going to the Titanic, 3,800 meters beneath the ocean's surface. What does that tell you? This window was only approved, this glass, for 1,300 meters. They well over doubled that when they traveled down to the Titanic. So if there was any type of difficulties, if this thing imploded, I think we need to look at that viewport, because we already know that they weren't supposed to go down there with that viewport. That viewport has only been tested and can, I assume, only withstand being underneath 1,300 meters of water. So if you double that, almost, oh yeah, you can quadruple that. You can quadruple that, and they're still below that. So that tells you right there how crazy this dude is. This guy was willing to cut corners. He was trying to cut cost. His vision, he became so obsessed with this vision that he threw all rationale out the window. And listen, if you as an individual, you want to do that, you have every right to do so, but you should not be taking other people on these missions. You should not be selling tickets to random tourists who have no idea about any of this stuff. It's mind-boggling to me that he was even allowed to do this. I want you all to really think about it. I have seen police officers shut down little kids' lemonade stands. Okay? I have, with my own two eyes, watched police officers shut down little kids lemonade stands because they did not have the proper documentation and they didn't go through the proper protocols to sell lemonade on the corner by their house. Meanwhile, this guy with a sub that has not been certified, a sub that everyone in the industry warned him about using, he is selling $250,000 tickets to dive to the bottom of the ocean to look at a shipwreck. Really think about that and let that simmer on your mind. It's illegal for kids to sell lemonade in the wrong area. Meanwhile, this dude can create a homemade sub and sell $250,000 tickets to drop people in the ocean in something that is being controlled by a $29.99 video game remote controller. It's insane. It is absolutely insane. The double standards are really weird. And like I said at the beginning of this video, this dude is definitely giving me like mad scientist type vibes. He's ignored everyone and he's continued to push forward and he's almost delusional. Not even almost, he is delusional. Seeing how things went, and like I told you all in my past video, there's been several situations already within this sub that have gone wrong. They've tried to do this dive multiple times and it didn't work out. All of the signs were there. Not only were people warning him, not only are people suing him, not only were his own workers telling him that this is not safe, but he's experienced how unsafe it was in real life scenarios while trying to take this sub down to the Titanic. So all of the warning signs were there. The actual verbal warnings were there. The dude completely ignored everything. And now, unfortunately, not only is he stuck in this situation, but he's convinced 4 other people to be stuck in this situation with him. Let me know your thoughts there down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I will talk to you all in the next video.